Let's go now to the United States, where President Donald Trump has dropped a political bombshell, abruptly sacking the head of the FBI, James Comey. In a formal termination letter, President Trump told Mr. Comey that new leadership was needed to restore trust. Anne Barker has the latest.
The decision to sack the FBI director has sent shockwaves through Washington, not least because of the way it was done. James Comey was apparently addressing FBI employees as television screens behind him suddenly flashed the news he'd been sacked. A formal letter signed by Donald Trump only arrived afterwards and read,
"I have received the attached letters from the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General of the United States recommending your dismissal. You are hereby terminated and removed from office, effective immediately. While I greatly appreciate you informing me on 3 separate occasions that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau."
The White House has since circulated a scathing memo from the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein that also criticises James Comey's handling of last year's investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails and whether her use of a private email server as Secretary of State had compromised national security. Last July, the FBI boss had announced there was no case for criminal charges. But days before last year's election, he reopened the investigation after the FBI discovered thousands more emails. Last week, he told the Senate Judiciary Committee thousands of emails with classified information had been sent to the computer of Anthony Weiner, the then husband of a Clinton aide. But now it's emerged that information was wrong.
And then they worked night after night after night, and they found thousands of new emails. They found classified information on Anthony Weiner. Somehow, her emails are being forwarded to Anthony Weiner, including classified information.
Democrats have long said the FBI's decision to reopen the investigation cost Hillary Clinton victory. But James Comey, in the same Senate hearing last week, said he stood by his decision.
Look, this was terrible. It makes me mildly nauseous to think that we might have had some impact on the election. But honestly, it wouldn't change the decision. Everybody who disagrees with me has to come back to October 28th with me and stare at this and tell me what you would do. Would you speak or would you conceal? And I could be wrong, but we honestly made a decision between those 2 choices that even in hindsight, and this has been one of the world's most painful experiences, I would make the same decision.
Now, Democrats have attacked the timing of Donald Trump's decision to sack the FBI boss. The party's Senate leader, Chuck Schumer, questions why, if James Comey had to be removed, it wasn't months ago.
The first question the administration has to answer is why now? If the administration had objections to the way Director Comey handled the Clinton investigation, they had those objections the minute the president got into office. But they didn't fire him then. Why did it happen today? We know the House is investigating Russian interference in our elections that benefited the Trump campaign. We know the Senate is investigating. We know the FBI has been looking into whether the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians. A very serious offense.
Many in Washington are describing the sacking as Trump's Tuesday night massacre, alluding to the Saturday night when former President Richard Nixon sacked staff at the Justice Department at the height of the 70s Watergate scandal. And Chuck Schumer has questioned whether the FBI's Russia investigation was getting too close to home for President Trump.
This is part of a deeply troubling pattern from the Trump administration. They fired Sally Yates. They fired Preet Bharara. And now they fired Director Comey, the very man leading the investigation. This does not seem to be a coincidence.
Chuck Schumer is now leading calls for an independent investigation into the alleged links between Donald Trump's campaign team and Russia.
The only way the American people can have faith in this investigation is for it to be led by a fearless, independent special prosecutor. If Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein does not appoint an independent special prosecutor, every American will rightly suspect that the decision to fire Director Comey was part of a cover-up.
At least one Republican, Senator John McCain, has expressed disappointment at Donald Trump's decision. He's called on Congress to form a special committee to investigate Russia's interference in last year's election.
Ann Barker reporting.